Hello, welcome to the Information Resources video. Information resources are used to record the sources from which you acquire the data you use to create your heritage plays or other records. So things like books, imagery, other publications, maps, things like that. This video will show you how to create and edit information resources in the EMINA v3 database. There are several different types of information resources that we use in EMINA. And in this first video, I will show you how to enter them generally. But then for the next steps, you should watch the video for each type separately. So for bibliography, or for imagery, for cartography, or shared data sources. Each source only needs to be entered one time, and then you can relate it to as many other resources as you need, or as are relevant, in fact. Before you create a new information resource, please make very sure that it doesn't already exist in the database. It is easy to make a duplicate, and this can cause confusion further on. You can find out if it already exists by using the search function. Further, it's important to realize that information resources are there in the database to record what specific sources have been used in the creation of records. And therefore, in principle, they should always be linked to another record like a heritage place or geoarchaeology or built component. There are exceptions to this. For example, if you have aerial photographs covering a large area, you don't necessarily need to link them, but it's still advisable, even in this case, to link them to heritage places that are visible on the imagery. Now, to create a new information resource, you can go to create new heritage resources, so to the resource manager, and there you can click on information resource once it opens, just like you do for heritage place. So you click here on create resource, and this will then open a new information resource. So I started one here already, so I will continue working in this one, but you can open a completely new one as well. So for information resources, it also opens a card tree, like you're used to in heritage places and built components and so on. But there's one difference. For information resources, you always have to fill in the resource type card over here. This is very important. But the next 4 cards, you only have to choose one. So if your resource type is a bibliography, you fill in that one. If it's imagery, only that one. If it's cartography, only that one. And if it's shared data, only this one. The next 4 cards are optional or only relevant to certain types. So location is not optional for imagery always, but it's often not relevant for the other resources, depending. So I start with the resource type, and this has the usual drop-down menu, and you choose which one it is. So for example, if I have a book, I go to bibliography and choose book and click on add. This will open the information carrier field, where you should select which type of format the book was in that you've used. So for example, if you've used the physical book, choose physical material and click add. And it's possible to have multiple different formats here. For example, if I've used the physical book, but also the online version of the book, I can go back to information carrier there and go to online access and add that one as well. But only if it's exactly the same book, not if it's a slightly different one, right? So next I would then, in this case, because I've chosen a bibliography type, resource type, I would then fill in the bibliography. So now I refer you to each of the separate videos for each of these different sorts of information resources.